people who live in Lawrence, and especially KU students, see this movie, what do you expect that they might kind of take away from it or learn from it?
Well, you know, I think Wilt Chamberlain's always been such a huge figure in Lawrence and at KU and really in the state, in the nation. And I think this is the movie that gets to really tell his story. I mean, I think this was, in my opinion, this is the most dramatic part of his life. And the question was always who we were going to get to play Wilt, and that was always the big obstacle with the film. And you know, we'd always ask Coach Self, and he was very great about working with us, and you know, because it took us a long time to raise the money and so forth, and guys came and went, and then when he showed me, he suggested Justin. That's when I really when I looked at Justin online, I went, wow. I mean, you know, he's a great interview, and he looked like Wilt. I mean, he could look like Wilt, you know, and he had the right body type, all those things. I just knew that we had to make the film now, that we had a great opportunity to make the film now. And you know, I always joke now, my joke is that if this basketball thing doesn't work out with Coach Self, he's got a great opportunity to be a casting director in Hollywood, because, you know, Justin is, I think Justin is probably the only guy, I mean, put it this way, you know, there's nobody better I think I could have found to play Wilt than Justin. You know, not just because he looks like Wilt and all those kind of things, but, you know, he had a natural kind of ability to kind of connect with acting. And the main quality he has, he's understated. And being understated is typically the problem you have with people who've not acted before. And most people want to act, you know. And Justin didn't do that. I mean, you know, there's this book called Acting is Believing, you know, and he just really kind of was himself in these situations in the film, and I think that's what makes it really work for the movie.
And Justin, as someone who's been a player here for a few years now, and you know your family has ties to KU basketball too, do you think playing Wilt in the movie, did that give you any more insight on just kind of how you know, KU basketball came to be such a culture in the town, and just you know, that whole thing?
I think it definitely, I think it helped me, you know Wilt a little more. Because I mean, like, before I did this film, I thought, like, you know, his experience here was just the same as you know mine or any other's players, but you know, he actually, you know, it was good at times, but at the same time, he went through a period where, you know, he was, you know, as far as like civil rights, it wasn't equal. So he went through rough times too, and just like those, you know, my generation is really bad about that. You know, keeping that in mind, like that's how things were back then. So, you know, it's all good for us. But you know, learning that aspect and learning what he went through, learning that part of history, like it's a real like eye opener. It's just like, you know, wow, like I never knew that. You know, he went through that. You know, here's this player that, you know, arguably one of the most dominant player of all time, you know, was going through these things as, you know, as a 19-year-old, 20-year-old, just
right.
A kid having to deal with these kind of things, being seen as a celebrity, but at the same time, you know, not being able to sit in certain places, maybe eating dinner, maybe have to eat in the back or that kind of thing, like, you know, kind of things like that. So it's definitely like a lesson that I learned. It's definitely like more, you know, history that I learned about.
Yeah, you know, and the really cool thing about this, I think, in terms, especially that Lawrence connection you're talking about, is that, you know, Justin being an athlete and being in a big program and having a famous coach and all those things, I think that gave him another level of understanding about all this. You know, that's the thing I always told him. I said, there's nothing about this that you really don't know. I mean, obviously, you know, he hasn't experienced segregation, but he's experienced coming from a big city to a small town, really, and having all these, you know, having the spotlight on you and having the pressure of playing for a big program, which, you know, is, as Justin was saying, it's like, you know, it's partly that he had the pressure of winning, and it's also partly that he's an 18, 19-year-old kid and he's dealing with all these social problems that he's also being handed and told to make better, really. So it's a unique kind of situation.